Hello my lovelies. I was lucky enough to be invited back to Angler April by Dale over at Acre Family Farms, so I decided it'd be a great opportunity to share one way to save your catch of the day and make it shelf stable if your freezer breaks. So let's get to it. Okay, so first off guys, we're going to grab ourselves a glass bowl and add about 1 litre of water to that. Next to that water, we're going to add half a cup of sea salt. Sea salt. Not your fancy salt, not your table salt, pure sea salt. That's it. Stop overcomplicating it. Now this is where you need to make sure that all of that salt dissolves into the water to make a brine mix. And as you can see at the beginning of this recipe, this is day 1. Now I'm doing this recipe in real time for you guys and exactly how much time it took me per day to do this, because you guys need to know just how little of your time in the day it's going to take to do this one thing. Now once your salt is dissolved in the water, you want to get your pieces of white fish. Now it doesn't matter what white fish you use, this will work with any white fish at all. Okay, just make sure that when you cut it, make about 1 inch sized piece. The end pieces for me were a little bit thin, so I made them a bit longer, but that's okay. About 1 inch, so a mouthful, really. Let's look at it that way. Once you chop them, put them straight in the brine. That's that simple. Really. It really, really is that simple. Now the reason it's in glass is we want a non-reactive container to put this in, and glass is your better option than plastic or metals. Or if you have none of those, then a glazed ceramic bowl or pot. But yeah, that's it. And now this goes in the fridge for 3 days to marinate. You just leave it alone, don't touch it. Now I just have 1 packet of fish here that I found lurking in the back of my freezer, so it hasn't taken me very long at all. But once that's done, it's done. Literally. If you do find yourself with a freezer full of stuff that you have to deal with, this is a very, very quick method of doing exactly that. I mean, this way at least you'll be able to get it done, get it out of the way, and not have to worry about it for a few days, so that you can focus on everything else. Now on day 5, what we're going to be doing is we are going to swap out the brine for a litre of vinegar. Okay, that's all you have to do. Then back in the fridge for a week. It was so quick and simple, I actually forgot to film it, so I'm really sorry. Okay, so we're at day 12, and this is probably the busiest you're going to get at all. Now we have our fish that is in our vinegar, and we're going to pour off that vinegar into a jug. Well, 2 cups worth of it anyway. To that vinegar, we are going to add a couple of tablespoons of white granulated sugar. You can use raw sugar or demerara if you want to for this, but I wouldn't use any of the molasses ones. You don't need it. It's too heavy. And you want to mix all that up until it is dissolved and fully into the vinegar, because we don't want any crystals, because the crystals will start to reform and then it's a big old mess and you don't want that. Now this whole process is pretty quick. We already have sliced ourselves an onion. You want to have your jar pretty close at hand, and we're going to start layering our jar. So you're going to use some of the onion. Get some of that in there. Yum, yum, yum. Next, your seasonings. Now I have some nigella seeds here, or onion seeds, whatever you want to call them, but nigella is a specific plant. Either would work though, so I put a few of those in. I'm going to get a couple of allspice berries, put those in whole, not ground. You don't want to have ground spices in this, you want to have whole ones. The next thing I have are some black mustard seeds. So we're going to pop probably like half a teaspoon in there of those. And then we're going to chuck in half a dozen black peppercorns. Yummy! Now the reason for using whole spices for this is so that it actually mutes into the pickle brine and doesn't take over the pickle brine. Okay, so you want to have a muted flavor, background flavor in there without any issues. So yeah, we did add a bay leaf. We're also going to now add some of our fish that has been sitting in some of the vinegar for the last week. So we're going to do that and add another layer of the onion and just layer the onion and the fish until the jar is full. And I mean full. I mean, you ram this stuff in as far as it will go without damaging the fish. Okay? Get it in there, get it tightly packed as you possibly can. It's really important. Now, the more onion and fish you pack into the jar, the less chance there is for air to be floating around the place, the less chance there is for any other things to go wrong. And it's just, as long as you can keep the vinegar over the top, really, of the contents of the jar, you're going to end up with a really, really good product. Now, there's no canning involved with this, neither water bathing nor pressure canning. The vinegar is your preserving agent, the salt is your preserving agent. And that's all that's needed. If you want to use a plastic jar for this, you can. If you want to use a fermenting jar for this, if you have one, or a kimchi jar or something, you could do that as well. I'm just happen to be using this recycled jar that I have, that's from probably pickles that I bought some time ago or whatever. Just get your vinegar in there as hard as you can and get it all covered up. That's the main takeaway from all this at the moment. Now just get your lid on, and I would move it around a bit just to make sure that any air bubbles pop right up to the surface, so you don't need to worry about it. I would leave that in the cupboard for at least another week, possibly 3 to 4, before even thinking about trying it out. I mean, it's perfectly edible now, and it would be in a week's time, but the longer it's left, the better it's going to be. Now this will actually stay shelf stable for around 2 years without having any issues. The only thing that'll make it break down is either that the contents are above the pickle line, or that the acid itself has started to break down the contents to the point where it's just mush, and it's just not very nice at that point. 3 weeks later, and I am able to make the most amazing open face sandwich with my pickled fish, and honestly it's been worth the effort. There wasn't a lot of work involved. It did it all by itself, and I have not wasted anything, I've not lost anything, and I've ended up with an incredible addition to my working pantry. Yum. I just hope that this encourages you guys to try new things. And so if you have enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already and you want to see more content like this. And all kinds of other shenanigans that we get up with over here. And share me with your friends. You know, there's enough of me to go around. You know. And we'll see you again soon. Bye.